Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic:
Americans of Reddit, what is something the rest of the world needs to hear? Our national parks are breathtaking. Can confirm. I'm from Ireland and I went to Yosemite in July. Hiked up to El Capitan and Glacier Point. It was the most beautiful scenery I've ever seen. Probably the most beautiful thing I've ever seen ever. If you liked Yosemite, visit Zion National Park. It's similar, though not on such a grand scale, but still magnificent. But rather than the stark gray colors, it's all various shades of red. And when the sun changes positions, the stone turns to different hues. It's literally awe-inspiring. Guys, charging to use the public bathroom is weird. I was in Vienna earlier this year and the urinals were free, but every toilet had a charge. I felt bad the girls all had to ask for change. Sexism was one of the arguments used to abolish paid toilets in the USA, interestingly enough. Link. Charging for water at a restaurant is pretty weird also. One thing I really like about the States is even if you're dead fucking broke, you can go to any restaurant and ask for water and you'll get water, no questions asked. My wife and I were in Germany a number of years ago. We were getting close to the end of the trip and were tired of spending so much. We stopped to get some lunch and the beer was cheaper than water. We started drinking to save money. We drive cars because public transportation is non-existent for most people. I live 10 minutes out in the country from my nearest town and 30 to 45 minutes from the nearest city. I have to have a car or else I'm not getting anywhere. God, I wish people understood this one more. Not all Americans want to be car dependent. In fact, cities that had streetcars often ripped the tracks up to make way for cars. Ford, being an American, having interest in infrastructure, and furthering car dependence had a huge part to play in the way cities, towns were built from then on. Sometimes it was straight malicious. Columbus, Ohio had commuter rail lines out to many of the nearby cities in the early 1900s. The company was bought out by Ford as he began expanding his car industry, and he drove up the ticket price to the point the average person couldn't afford to ride the commuter trains. Then Ford shut the commuter trains down because they no longer saw profit. American capitalism at its best. If you see a Dollar General bag on the side of the road, pick it up and throw it away or a new Dollar General will sprout. My hope is that Aldi finds a way to conquer that market. They're absolutely perfect for small towns. And vastly better than Dollar General. Small form. Very efficient. Ultra cheap. I think if Aldi can find a way to conquer small town USA, then Walmart is truly fucked. They're already going for that plan, seems like. Exactly. Where I live cannot even be classified as a town because there are so few people. We have one Dollar General, one gas station, no stoplights, and there are about 900 ppl here. It takes me about 30 minutes to get to freaking McDonald's from where I live. Up here in Canada, we call what are actually villages and hamlets towns, because if we didn't there would probably be like 5 official towns per province. Even some places that claim to be cities are actually what most places would consider a town. Very few places, unless extreme expansion is predicted within the next 5 years, could be called a city by tourists. It also takes about 5 hours to get from my home village to an actual city, and not a city that happens to have a strip mall with 2 to 5 stores still open. I now live 3 hours away from the city, but still it's cheaper to own a vehicle than to call a taxi. Hell, it's cheaper to call a police officer, claim you are too drunk to drive to the town you want to go to and have them drop you off, than calling a taxi or hoping a bus is in the area and will pass through the place you want to go. Stop telling us where various cities are located as if we're too stupid to figure it out. We know where Paris is. It's in Texas. They even have their own Eiffel Tower. With a hat. A fucking cowboy hat. I thought you were joking, but it's real and I love it. It's not that we don't want to visit other countries, it's that for the majority of Americans, Canada and Mexico are a day or 2 drive away. And paying over $1,000 to get a round-trip ticket overseas isn't something a lot of people can justify buying. Also, vacation time is a luxury and most people can't get a week or 2 off at a time. That's something I have always envied Europeans and Australians about. They get anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks paid vacation time, and we just get a lousy 2 weeks. And for the most of us, that's not even paid time off. Edit. I've been informed in the replies that it's closer to 4 or 6 weeks paid vacation. I may have been confusing maternity leave or sick leave or other types of leave with vacation leave. Not really sure what I was confusing it for. Y'all are getting fat too. We're not even in the top 10 anymore. Laughing from the lowest ranking on the list, you noobs. I couldn't be thin in a country with pho and spring rolls. We hate our politicians as much as non-Americans do. We do indeed have a few good ones trying to do the right thing, but they are heavily outnumbered by both people, votes and money. And people disagree about which ones are trying to do the right thing. We hate our politicians as much as non-Americans do. Probably more. Animals in Yellowstone will kill you. Edit. Thank you everyone for the gifts. The norther you go, the bigger the animals that want to kill you. The souther you go, the more venomous. Also, stay on the damned paths. I'm tired of hearing about tourists falling in the pools and dissolving. Man, don't you hate it when tourists just dissolve? So annoying. Some of the springs in Yellowstone will also kill you if you try to swim in them. Just observe from afar because you're probably fucked if you don't. Aren't some of them boiling acidic hellholes that only extremophilic microbes can survive in?